The year is 849 AD. England, if it can even be called that, is a shattered land, a mosaic of kingdoms. Northumbria, Mercia, East Anglia, and Wessex, each ruled by its own king, divided by ambition and never-ending war. From across the North Sea come a new terror. The Norsemen, Vikings, raiders, and butchers. With their axes and their menacing boats, these raiders descend on the coasts and kingdoms of England like wolves in the night. In the midst of ruin, one man would rise. He was not a warrior by nature, not even the first in line to the throne, but through unending hardship, he would forge himself into a legend. His name was Alfred. History would remember him as the Great. Alfred was born in Wantage, Berkshire, fifth son of King Athelwulf of Wessex. Not the heir, not the warrior. He was known as the Quiet One. He was deeply religious, a lover of stories and scripture. While his brothers trained for battle, Alfred absorbed poetry, Latin, and the legacy of the Roman Empire. At the age of just 4, Alfred made a pilgrimage to Rome, the center of Christendom, and he met Pope Leo IV. This was a very unusual honor for a child of those times, especially one in a society that was so faith-dominated, like medieval Europe. But this was definitely a sign of things to come. Alfred suffered from some form of chronic illness. Historians do not fully know what it was, although through looking at historical texts, many point to the possibility of it being Crohn's disease or painful piles. Either way, this sickness plagued him for his entire life. From this terrible stomach disease, Alfred lived in near constant discomfort. Yet, he bore it in silence, turning inward. He became a very patient man. He was very analytical. Even in his youth, this pain would sharpen his mind for the years to come. He was not bred for the throne, but fate had other plans. In 865 AD, the storm broke. A Viking coalition, known as the Great Heathen Army, landed in East Anglia, sweeping across the land like fire through dry grass. By the year 870 AD, Northumbria and Mercia had both fallen. Only the kingdom of Wessex remained. Alfred's older brothers, Athelbald, Athelbert, and Athelred, took turns ruling, each one dying in short succession. Alfred the Scholar Prince now found himself heir to a kingdom under siege. In 871, he became king at 22 years old. Barely crowned, he fought the Battle of Ashdown. According to legend, Alfred charged before his brother could give orders. His boldness turned the tide. The West Saxons won, but Alfred knew it wouldn't last. The Vikings were no ordinary army. They moved like shadows, raiding, burning, retreating. Alfred's shield wall tactics struggled to contain them. In January of 878, disaster struck. The Viking leader Guthrum launched a surprise attack during winter, when campaigns traditionally ceased. Alfred and his family were forced to flee. His court scattered, his army broken. He went on to vanish into the wetlands of Athelney in Somerset. Cold, hungry, and hunted. It is here we find one of the most enduring stories. A woman offers Alfred shelter and asks him to watch her cakes on the fire. Lost in thought, he lets them burn. She scolds him, unaware she's speaking to the King of Wessex. Whether this story is true or not, the tale reflects the truth of the moment. A king bought low, no throne, no army, no certainty, just reeds, fog, and fire. But through it all, Alfred did not collapse. He watched, he planned, and he endured. In May 878, Alfred emerged from exile. He rallied what remained of his forces at Egbert's Stone. Peasants, thanes, former soldiers. They gathered to follow the king who had never abandoned them. At Edington, Alfred faced Guthrum once again. This time, he was ready. Alfred used the land to his advantage. He knew the Viking tactics: swift charges, loose formations. His plan? Hold the line. Force them to exhaust themselves. Then, counter. The shield wall held. The Saxons pushed forward. Victory came not just from strength, but strategy. Guthrum surrendered. The Dane agreed to be baptized under Christian law, an act both spiritual and political. Wessex was saved, for now. Alfred's victory at Edington was not just the end, it was the beginning. He returned not just a warrior king, but as a builder, a philosopher, a lawgiver. Even while at war, he had begun studying how to reform his kingdom. He believed that ignorance was as dangerous as invasion. He planned to translate Latin text into Old English. He dreamed of a literate clergy, a fair legal code, and a network of fortified towns. Most rulers rule for power. Alfred ruled for purpose. His enemies feared his sword, but his people loved his mind. Alfred rose from exile and ashes, a scholar who became a warrior, a man whose weakness became wisdom. His victory at Edington secured more than a kingdom. It bought time for a vision. But the battle for England was far from over. In part 2, we will explore Alfred's transformation of a people, his legal reforms, his educational revival, and his dream of unity. The boy who burned cakes would one day light a fire that shaped the future of a nation. Alright, you guys, that is my part 1 to my new Alfred the Great series. I hope you guys enjoyed. Alfred is awesome. I love all of the stuff that he was able to do, and I cannot wait to share that with you guys in part 2 and part 3. Alright, you guys, have a wonderful day.